welcome back.
Welcome back. So today we are going to make some Valentine's Day dinner. We are going to make a seafood pasta. It's going to be absolutely delicious. But before we get started, here's a little joke for you. How did the telephone propose to his girlfriend? He gave her a ring. Ha ha ha. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So without further ado, let's get cooking.
With the cookies.
We're going to start by making the pasta dough. We're going to start with 2 cups of flour, 3 eggs, half a teaspoon of salt, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Then we're going to mix this on up. You can mix this in a mixer if you want, but our dough hook wouldn't be able to reach the bottom, so we're just going to mix this by hand.
Try to get the eggs munched up.
Make sure that when you're mixing this up to really get in there and have fun with it.
Try it a little bit. That's a tiny bit. Yeah, good.
Once we get this pretty clumpy, we're going to get in there with our hands and knead this by hand. You can take it out of the bowl to give you more room if you want.
How is better?
We want to continue to knead this dough until it becomes slightly sticky. Feel free to take turns if you want. At that time, we're going to take and wrap it in saran wrap and let it sit at room temperature for 20 minutes. While that's resting, we're going to prep our veggies for our sauce. We are going to chop up half an onion. You okay?
I put onion in my eye. I'm going to cry.
Put that in the bowl and set it to the side. Chop up a tomato and put that in the bowl and set it to the side.
I did it! I got into it with a
Very good.
I'm not going to need to be... Okay, I don't need to hold it. I want you to do it.
Okay, I'll hold it like this and you slide it. Oh no, get your fingers. Hold it out here. Because if you go like this, you could grate your fingers and that would hurt real bad. So yeah, hold it out there. There you go, and slide it. Doing great. Lastly, we're going to grate a half a cup of mozzarella cheese and set that to the side.
It's going through the real hole.
It is.
Wow! Ready.
Back to the dough, we are going to start by unwrapping the dough.
So, here's the dough.
And then coat it with flour real good.
Yeah, so it doesn't stick to the table.
Once that's coated in flour, we're going to run this through the pasta roller. Make sure to roll it before cutting it, just to make it easier for the cutter if you have a pasta roller like this one. Keep going.
Whoa!
Alright, keep going.
That was so gross. And I almost broke it. It's special.
Also, before we start rolling it, we're going to make sure the counter is floured really well. That way, as we roll it, the dough doesn't stick to the counter. It's hard?
No. Easy peasy.
Once we have that rolled out, we're going to coat this with flour to make it easier for the cutter, so that as it goes through there, there's a less of a chance that it will stick together. Then, we're going to run this through the pasta cutter. Here we went with larger noodles, just because we wanted to. However, you can cut them into smaller noodles if you like. Once we got those noodles cut, we're going to throw them on a pan. When there are some that are stick together, just go ahead and pull those apart. At this time, if you wanted to dry the noodles, you could. You just need to hang them someplace where the noodles can dangle and make sure they aren't touching so they dry evenly throughout. Next up, we're going to cook our noodles. If you're not letting these dry, you want to cook them right away. If you leave them too long in the pan, they will start to stick together. We're going to take a pot of boiling water, roughly 6 cups, and add 1 teaspoon of salt.
I cooled it down.
Once that salt dissolves, which shouldn't take long, we're going to start adding our noodles. Once all those noodles are in there, we're going to stir them to prevent them from sticking to each other. These noodles will cook a lot faster than noodles that you get in the box at the store. They take roughly 3 to 5 minutes in boiling water. Once we have that cooked, we're going to strain the noodles and set that to the side. We're going to start the sauce. We are going to start by adding a tablespoon or 2 of olive oil, our half pound of scallops, half pound of shrimp, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper. Then we're going to cook this until the shrimp turns a little pink and the seafood is cooked all the way through, which will take roughly 6 to 8 minutes on medium to high heat. Also, you will notice that there is a bit of water that came with the shrimp and scallop. This is because they were frozen and had to be defrosted. Don't worry if you have the extra water, just make sure to cook it off before finishing off the seafood. Once that is cooked up, we're going to set it to the side. In the same pan, without cleaning it, we are going to add half an onion and saute it up until the onion becomes a little translucent. At that point, we're going to add 1/2 cup of beef stock, 1 cup of milk, 1 chopped tomato from earlier, our seafood, our noodles, 1/2 cup of freshly shredded Parmesan cheese, and 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese. Then we're going to saute that all up together until the sauce thickens up. Feel free to add more cheese if you want. With this amount of cheese we added, the seafood is the flavor that comes through the most, which is how we like it. But if you like it more cheesy, feel free to add more cheese. Once our sauce thickens up, we're going to put this on a plate, then add a few extra flavors and colors. We will start with a few slices of diced tomatoes, some chopped up or cut up green onion, and then sprinkle on some red pepper flakes on the top to add a little heat. Feel free to skip this if you don't want any heat. All in all, this isn't a bad recipe to cook with a toddler. Ellie really enjoyed making the dough as usual and rolling out the noodles, but by the time we got around to making the sauce, she was ready to call up. I would give this a 3 out of 5 for cooking with a toddler. As far as eating it, she didn't want to touch the seafood, so we did set some noodles to the side and doctored them up with cheese for her. So if your toddler doesn't like seafood, you might want to do the same.
Here's the pasta.
Alright, so there we have our pasta. So without further ado, let's get taste testing.
I really like that. The noodles are good. The seafood is cooked very well. The seasonings and all the spices blend very well together. It's a great date night pasta dish.
I agree. It's not that hard to make. I mean, in all, it didn't take that much time as you would think. It's actually relatively easy, and it just tastes absolutely delicious. And it's one of those fancy meals that you can make for a date night or whatnot. And it's absolutely delicious. So with that being said, if you like this video, hit the like button down below. If you want to see more like it, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you can be notified every time we make a new video. Until next time, we'll see you later.